everyone, and welcome to one of our Roar Up summer virtual orientation sessions. We are excited to bring financial aid and student accounts for you today. A few housekeeping items. We are recording this session and we'll make it available in future newsletters as well as our YouTube channel, so that if you need to go back and grab any information, it will be made available to you. Also, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the Q&A on the bottom. We'll be monitoring that, or you can use the chat function. I know our teams love to be able to follow up, and so if your Zoom name could reflect your student's name, that would be wonderful. It helps us know who's joining us. But without further ado, I will go ahead and pass it on over to Jennifer Petticelli with Financial Aid.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jennifer Petticelli. I'm a financial aid counselor with Flagler College. So today we're going to talk about different aspects of the financial aid, how to use the financial aid portal, how to accept your aid, all that different kind of fun stuff. And then as soon as I'm done with the financial aid portion, Brittany will come on and review student accounts information. So here we go. Okay, again, this is me. I take care of students with the last name beginning with A through F. Miss Johanna Traverso takes care of students with the last name G through N. Miss Jennifer Douglas takes care of students with the last name O through Z in our public administration program. We also have Miss Dawn Tejan. She is our financial operations specialist. Miss Belinda Fieldhouse is one of our associate directors. Miss Terry Hall is another associate director, and she is also the college's VA certifying official. So if you are a VA family and have VA benefits you'd like to use, definitely get in touch with her if you have not already. And we also have Miss Shea Pleasant Duane as our director. So again, today we're going to cover the financial aid portal, how to accept aid, documents, renewal requirements, which are so important to make sure you have your financial aid through the entire 4 years you're a student here, and the different types of financial aid that's offered. So first and foremost, this is our financial aid portal. Hopefully everyone has seen this and been able to log in so far. Now, this is not to be confused with your My Flagler page. The website for the financial aid portal is financialaid.flagler.edu. Now, you'll need to first go to student number or student ID number under the login portion. That's where you'll enter your Flagler College student ID number. Next, you'll go down to the first time user option. That's if you've never logged in before. And this will not necessarily be the same login information that was set as your My Flagler. Like I said, this is a completely separate portal, so it's important to make sure that you log in so you can view everything that's necessary to complete your financial aid. Next, in order for you to accept your financial aid, when you log in, you need to go to the top left menu button and then accept awards. Now down towards the bottom, there'll be a list of your awards, and if you scroll over to the right side of the awards, there's a drop-down menu, and with that drop-down menu, there's an accept or decline option. Now, 9 times out of 10, or most of the time, we've already accepted the free money for you, being the grants and scholarships, but you will need to decision those Flagler College or those federal student loans. So if you have student loans that are offered, which if you completed a FAFSA, we are required to offer those to you, just make sure if you've not done so already to log in and decline or accept those federal student loans. Next is documents. It's very important to make sure all of your financial aid documents are complete. If we don't have all your paperwork, your financial aid will not post to your bill. So super, super important to make sure this aspect of it is done. Again, you'll go to the top left menu button and then the Documents tab. And then you'll see down at the bottom, there's a list of documents. You can click on that, you can print, you can complete, and then you can email, fax, upload, or mail the documents back to us. Now, I would just want to point out not to confuse the Documents tab with the Forms tab. So forms will be a list of all financial aid forms out there, not necessarily just forms that you need to do. So please make sure you're clicking on that Documents tab. Okay, and next, again, like we said, you can email, mail, upload, or fax the documents. Just make sure for the upload option, this is a new option for us this year because we feel like it's a more secure option. So you want to make sure you have the entire document saved as one file. If you don't, sometimes I know scanners will print like one page is a separate, each page is a separate document. The document won't upload properly to our download feature if you do it that way. So please make sure all pages are saved as one document before you upload. And we do need original signatures. We can't take typed signatures. So another important note. Next is renewal requirements. We want to make sure everyone knows what they need to do in school to keep their financial aid for all 4 years. So you'll go to the top left menu button and then renewal requirements. This page will review all your renewal requirements for federal, state, and Flagler financial aid. It's really important to make sure that you keep track of this going into school because you don't want to get to the spring portion of your freshman year and then not, blindsided and possibly losing financial aid. So definitely keep track of this. Make sure you're completing the amount of hours you need and staying on track with your GPA. Okay, next is understanding your awards. So there's scholarships, grants, and loans. Scholarships, of course, are free money. Grants are free money, and loans are required to be repaid. So anything that says federal subsidized or federal unsubsidized loan is a loan that must be repaid. There are a few different loan options, so I'll go into those shortly here in the presentation. Now, we did talk about renewal requirements. It is super important that in order for you to keep your aid, like we talked about for all 4 years, you need to take 15 hours a semester. And in order to keep your Flagler College aid, that 15-hour requirement is there because there's nothing worse than getting to your senior year and you run out of aid. So if for some reason you cannot take 15 hours, you would still need to be at 12 hours, but you can get approval for taking the 12 hours with your academic advisor. So it's really important you get in touch with your academic advisor and then complete and get them to approve that 15-hour waiver form, because if we don't have that, then you lose your aid if you don't have that 15 hours. So again, if we are requiring 15 hours, but if you can't do the 15 hours, you do need to do a minimum of 12 with that approved 15-hour waiver. Next is Bright Futures. So hopefully all of our Florida students are very familiar with this program. This is a great program through the state of Florida. There's a few different levels of Bright Futures that we can accept as a private college. These are both merit-based awards. The first is academic and the second is medallion. So the state of Florida will pay a certain dollar amount per credit hour based on which level of Bright Futures you qualify for. Now, it's really important, if you haven't done so already, that you contact the state with their information below here, floridastudentfinancialaid.org. Also, make sure you touch base with your counselor in high school, because the counselors have to submit all of your information to the state, and then the state approves you for this Bright Futures Award. And I also encourage those of you that still need time to retest, definitely take advantage of those extended deadlines the state has offered. This is a great award. It doesn't pay the percentages like it does for a public institution, but because we're a private institution, they do pay a certain dollar amount per credit hour. So when we award these awards, we're going to award it based on 15 credit hours. Now, if you drop down to 12 hours, then we'll make an adjustment after add drop, or if you go up to 18 hours, we'll also adjust it after add drop. So just make sure you're aware that all your requirements are met to be approved for this award. Usually the state will let us know around mid-July who's approved for this. And again, it's up to the state of Florida, but please make sure you do your due diligence and make sure everything's completed and that they have everything they need. Okay, next is the FAFSA. Hopefully everyone's heard of the FAFSA. This is the free application for federal student aid. It's not required by Flagler for you to complete this FAFSA, but if you're interested in any need-based or federal student loans, this is definitely something you need to complete. The website is studentaid.gov. You need to complete the 21-22 application. Even if you don't think you qualify for something, I just encourage families to complete this, especially your incoming freshman year, because you never know. It doesn't hurt to try 1 year and see what you qualify for. We are required to offer federal student loans when you complete a FAFSA, but you don't have to take them. You can decline them in your financial aid portal. Now, if you do have need-based aid, and you're interested in taking loans from year to year, you will need to complete this FAFSA each year. So October 1st of each year, the FAFSA will open for the following academic year. So in October 1st of this year, the FAFSA will open for the 22-23 school year. So please just keep that in mind. It's kind of easy to forget about because it's only a once a year thing you need to do. But like I said, if you have federal student loans that you'd like to keep receiving, and if you have need-based aid, we do need this FAFSA completed every year. If you have any questions on the application, you can actually call 1-800-4FED-AID, and they can answer any questions for you. Now, the federal student loans are based on what year you are in school. So as a freshman, you're eligible for $5,500 a year, sophomore, $6,500, junior and senior, $7,500 a year. That's the maximum amount that the federal government states we can offer each student based on what year they are in school. Now, these numbers are for dependent students. If you're an independent student, these numbers will be a little bit different. Okay, so there's two different types of loans that can be offered, and subsidized or unsubsidized. Some of you may not qualify for subsidized loans. Again, that's going to depend on what the FAFSA tells us, what your expected family contribution is. So some may qualify for subsidized and unsubsidized, or just subsidized. Unfortunately, there is no just subsidized option that the federal government offers. But the difference between these two awards is how the interest accrues. So the subsidized loan, the federal government actually pays the interest on this while you're in school. The unsubsidized loan, the student will be responsible for the interest that accrues while you're in school. So you don't have to start making payments on either of them until you graduate, or 6 months after you graduate or leave school. But if you don't need all of this money, please don't take it. You don't want to take out loans and then have to repay them in case the unsubsidized loan with interest. So you can if you only need a little bit, you can maybe take the subsidized loan or just take part of the unsubsidized loan, or however you want to do it. But definitely, if you're going to take any type of loans, generally these federal student loans are going to be your lower interest rate option. If you do decide to take these federal student loans, the federal government does require students to complete a master promissory note and entrance counseling. This can be done at studentaid.gov, and the student needs to use their FAFSA login ID to complete these. These federal student loans that are offered through the FAFSA are in the student's name. So the student must log in and complete this master promissory note and entrance counseling. I stress this because sometimes parents will log in trying to help the students get this done, but unfortunately, if it comes over in the parent's name, it's never going to credit the student for completing the requirement. So it's very important you get these done. The master promissory note is basically you signing a document stating that you promise you're going to pay the federal government back for these loans. And the entrance counseling is just it's a kind of tutorial to make sure you understand that you're taking out loans and they have to be repaid and what that involves. So again, very important requirement. If you haven't done so, make sure you log into your portal and note that we've received that. Parent Plus loan. This is a great option for parents. It's basically the parents taking out a loan for students' expenses. It's not, you don't have to apply for this. It is just another option, but the interest rate, it's not great, but it's not horrible. Interest rate's 5.03% with an origination fee of 4.228%. With this loan, the interest does start accruing from the day the loan disperses. So the interest accrues the same way it does on the unsubsidized loan, just at a little bit higher interest rate. So that's why I say if you're going to take loans, take advantage of the federal student loans that were offered first, and then maybe look into the Parent Plus loan. The other nice option with the Parent Plus loan is it actually gives parents an option if they want to start repaying now or if they want to wait until 6 months after the student graduates. So if times are a little rough right now and you want to do the student loan and maybe you're waiting for a bonus to come in or a raise next year or something, you can always defer those payments and start making them later. You don't even have to wait till the student graduates, but at least that deferment option is there. Also with the Parent Plus loan, just as a side note, if you do decide to take this Parent Plus loan, when you're in the application, it's going to give you two options for a refund. So once the Parent Plus loan credits the bill, if there's an overpayment, then the parent has an option to refund the money to the borrower or refund the money to the student. If you choose the student option, then I encourage the student to log into their My Flagler page and set up an ERefund preference. Brittany will go into this a little bit later because the ERefund preference is through student accounts in your My Flagler page, but definitely go in there and set up your account number and your routing number where you want the money to go to. And that's not just for a Parent Plus loan. If there's an overpayment for any reason, at least, if you have that ERefund preference set up, then it's easier for student accounts and it's faster for the students to receive the money. If you choose the parent option, student accounts actually has to cut a paper check and mail it to the address on file. So that can definitely take extra time. And then if the address isn't correct and mail gets returned, it can definitely extend the amount of time it takes for the families to receive that money back. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Private student loans. This is another option. This is generally a higher interest rate option. This would be a third-party financial institution. So I encourage you to look into your local banks, credit unions, and then other national lenders. Make sure when you are looking into these additional loans that you do your due diligence. You want to make sure you're comparing interest rates, origination fees, and repayment schedules. Those are super important because you want to make sure you're getting the best deal because you do have to pay this money back. So refunds. Okay. So refunds will not begin until after ad drops. So please don't count on refunds to help pay your first month's rent. Usually refunds won't start to go out until like the first or second week in September. But again, we have to wait until ad drops begins for us to be able to send that money out. And again, this is just reiterating with the Parent Plus loan. If you choose the parent refund option in the Parent Plus loan, then you will be mailed a paper check from student accounts. If you choose the student option, then hopefully you have an ERefund preference set up. If not, go in and do that now. And the money will be sent to you electronically. All right, to-do list. It is summer, but I am giving you homework. If you have not done so already, please log into your financial aid portal, which is financialaid.flagler.edu, and ensure all your documents are complete. Once again, if you look at your bill and your financial aid is not showing, we're missing documentation. So it's super important you log into that financial aid portal and complete all the documents that are required. Next, make sure that you've accepted or declined all your financial aid. If you're still on the fence about the loans, you can leave it for now, but just keep in mind we're going to keep bugging you to do that until it's done, because we definitely want you all to have everything paid as soon as possible. And then last but not least, please check your Flagler email regularly. Since you are deposited students, this is the only way that financial aid and student accounts can communicate with you. It is super important that you check your email regularly because that is how we're going to send our information out to you. So as far as financial aid goes, that is all I have for you. I am going to turn this over to Brittany, and that way she can get her portion of the presentation started.
While Brittany is bringing up her presentation, we did have two questions come in for you, Jennifer, if we can ask those. The first one, can you take out a student loan that you don't start paying back until after the student graduates college and it's in her name that the family co-signed?
So that would be a private student loan. If you complete a FAFSA, we're going to offer you the federal student loans, that $5,500, $6,500, or $7,500 a year based on what year you are in school. So that's the most we can offer as far as just in the student's name. Parent Plus loan is only in the parent's name. And then if you're wanting the student to be on those loans, there is no lender out there that will let a student borrow by themselves. But you would have to look into those private loan options if you do want the student on that loan with you.
Do you know if the family will be able to make payments on the interest accrued while the student's in school?
So if you're doing a Parent Plus loan, I'm sure you can call the lender and make arrangements because each lender is a little bit different. As far as a private loan goes, I'm honestly not sure. I believe you're going to have to start making payments right away on most private loans. So you definitely have to check with your lender. And after we originate the loans and they're dispersed, at least for federal loans, then you will receive a letter in the mail from the lender talking about, who they are, how to contact them, and so on and so forth.
And our last question, if applying for the Parent Plus loan, should the family borrow enough to cover for the first year, or do they apply per semester?
Very good question. So you have the option of applying for the semester or the year. I personally recommend you apply for the year just because you don't want to have to go back in December around Christmas time and do another credit pull and do another application. If you do the loan for the year, at least, it's in there, you're covered, you're good. And some families are more comfortable just doing it a semester at a time. So it's really a personal preference. But as far as a credit standpoint, you don't want to pull your credit twice a year if you don't have to, as far as for this loan. So I personally recommend applying once a year. And then if you generally, if we don't hear from you and you say you want to borrow, the maximum amount you're eligible for, then we'll just split that down the middle. If you do want that to be changed a little bit, say you want $3,000 for the fall and $6,000 for the spring, then you just need to send your financial aid counselor an email when you're working through the Plus loan process with them and just say, hey, I really want this amount for this semester and this amount for that semester. And as long as it fits in the budget, then we can do that.
Thank you. Again, if anybody does have questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A and we'll be sure to ask them throughout. Oh, I'm so sorry. Before you get started, Brittany, it looks like we had one other one come in. How do you know how much to take out for the whole year for the Plus loan?
So it's different for each person. The way we figure out how much you can have is a student can't borrow over their budget. So every student has a budget for the school year, which comprises of an estimated total cost of what it'll cost to attend school. So what we do is subtract your budget from all your financial aid awarded, and that's how much you can borrow. So when you do your application, if say you do the maximum amount eligible, I personally, with my students, I'll send the parent an email when I receive the application and say, hey, I've seen you applied for the maximum amount. And then I'll tell you, you can borrow up to this much. How much would you like to borrow? So your financial aid counselor will be able to tell you up to how much you can borrow once we receive the application.
Great, thank you. All right, Brittany, you're up.
Awesome. Thank you. And I want to welcome everyone today. I'm going to go over the student accounts portion of the presentation. My name is Brittany Percival, and I am the manager of student accounts. I'm going to start off with going over the student account staff. There's myself, Brittany Percival. There's also Cindy Canava, who's a student accounts counselor and analyst. And we also have Ashley Reinberger, who is a student account representative and counting assistant. Any three of us can help you with any questions you may have on your student account. Today, we're going to go over how to view and access your online statements, make a payment, add an authorized payer, enroll in the payment plan, ERefund, and the health and tuition insurance. I know it sounds like a lot, but we're here to help and guide you every step of the way. So first, important dates. All of you by now should have received your one-time mailed statement that was in the mail. That will be the only statement that is mailed to you while you're here at Flagler. Everything will be on your payment site, which I'm going to go through on how to access it. Starting tomorrow, the payment plan will be available online for anyone that would like to sign up early. If not, the first payment will be due on July 15th. If you're not planning to utilize the payment plan, the fall semester balance is due on August 1st. The last day to secure the Grad Guard tuition insurance is the 31st, and the waiver deadline for the health insurance is September 15th. And we'll go into more details at the end of the presentation. Okay, the next few slides, students, this is how you are going to access your site, your payment site, you as a student only. You're first going to go on My Flagler and log in with your username and password on the top right corner. You're then going to select the Students tab at the top. I do just want to point out just for a minute that Authorized Payer button. I'm going to go into more details later, but I just wanted to point it out. Then you're going to select the red Business Service button. You're then going to select then the link, the Payments, Invoices, and Parent Pins. This is now you're on your payment site. It will default to your overview, which will have what your entire balance will be. There's also a shopping cart if you ever need to replace your ID or room key. On the left-hand side, there's a laundry list of items, which is my account, the account details, payment plan, etc. The statements that are published online are going to be dated statements. You as the student right now will get emails and notifying you anytime a statement is published. Now, let's say you're still working with filling out your documents and accepting financial aid, and that paper statement does not have all of your aid on it, or if you're planning to waive the health insurance and the health insurance charges on it. If there hasn't been a statement that has been published since that date, everything you want to view and access your site is through your account details. This is all real-time activity. So if you go accept your aid, about 45 minutes later, you'll see it right here on the account details. This is where we strongly suggest parents and students to always look, because we only usually publish statements about 2 or 3 times a semester. Payment options. You are able to make the payment online. When you click make a payment online, it's going to default to the full balance. If you're not wanting to pay the full balance, you would just hit that little X in the right corner, or you back it out and type in the amount you want to pay. Scroll down to the bottom and hit continue. Now you have the options to pay by credit card, electronic check, or foreign currency. If you select foreign currency, if you're paying by an international wire, it goes through Western Union. Once you click that, it'll redirect you to Western Union. It's pretty simple to follow the steps, selecting your country, etc. Then for the credit card, whether it's a debit or a credit card, the system will charge you a 2.75 transaction fee. So we say if you can pay by electronic check, that's your routing and checking account number, that will be no additional fees to your account. That would just be what you are trying to pay on your student account. We also have the 5-month payment plan. Like I said, early enrollment starts tomorrow, but the first payment is not necessarily due until July 15th. And then it takes your balance and divides it into 5 equal installments. There's a one-time $35 enrollment fee, and re-enrollment is required each semester. So for the fall, the one it will begin on July 15th and go to November 15th. And in the spring, you'll re-enroll and it'll be December 15th to April 15th. This is another good option to be able to spread out the payments, and as well as if you're still working with financial aid to get documents in and you want to secure that August 1st deadline, you can enroll in the payment plan with what the balance shows. And then as things get added, your payments will readjust. The payment plan will always take out less than you've agreed to, but never more. So if anything, as far as a charge is added, something as simple as if one of your classes have a lab fee, the payment plan would send you an email notification like something's changed, you have to agree before we take out more. It's a very good, we strongly recommend the payment plan option. Starting tomorrow, when you go on and follow the steps that I just went through in the previous slide, you're going to see enroll in the fall 21 payment plan, and then your schedule will be placed for the whole semester. We also accept checks to be mailed. You just mail it to the main 74 King Street address, attention student accounts. We suggest if you do this option to please make sure the student ID number and name is on the check so we know who to associate it to. We do accept 529 payments as well. Every 529 plan is different, so we suggest you to contact them directly to see how they want to disperse the funds to the college. Usually it's you request the funds and then they cut a check to the college directly. Like with mailed checks, just make sure the student ID and name is on the check so we know who to associate it to. We also accept cash or check in our office. Our office is located on 20 Valencia Street, right next to the Lewis Storms. and there's no need to have any appointments needed where we have an open door policy. We also accept third-party payments. One of the big questions we always get is, does Flagler accept Florida Prepaid? Yes, we do. It's just a little different since we are a flat rate based school in a private college. The first thing that you need to do for Flagler to bill your Florida Prepaid plan is fill out the transfer form. You can find the transfer form on the main Florida Prepaid website, or we do have one on the Flagler website as well if you just search Florida Prepaid. While filling out the transfer form, there's two options, restricted or unrestricted. It does not make a difference to us which one you choose, because we will always bill your plan at the restricted rate, which is 15 credit hours per semester. And if you look on the right, here is, depending on the plan you have, what Florida Prepaid has paid this past 2020-21 academic year. We don't usually get the new rates until mid-August, so the plan would adjust accordingly if the rates do go up. Now, the reason that the restricted, where we bill 15 credit hours per semester, is it takes your 120 credit hour Florida Prepaid plan and spreads it out for the 8 semesters that you're here at Flagler College. Now, if you would like us to bill more or less of your prepaid plan, when you're filling out that form, you just select the unrestricted option. That you would just have to let us know each semester in writing how much you would like us to bill. Now, we do want to say to keep in mind that the more we bill each semester than the 15 credit hours, there is the chance that your plan could be depleted before you graduate. Flagler also accepts all out-of-state prepaid plans as well. Similar to 529, we just say to contact your plan directly to see if they want the college to bill like we do with Florida Prepaid, or if they're just going to send the funds directly to the college. We do accept VA educational benefits as well. And like Jennifer mentioned, Miss Terry Hall is the certifying official. If you have not been in touch with her yet, you can send her an email at thall@flagler.edu. And if you have any questions about third-party payments and after this presentation, please feel free to reach out to my office. Now, the next slide is in regards to creating an authorized payer. Now, students, you are always getting the email notifications when statements are published. Now, this is a crucial, like I had mentioned when I briefly pointed out that authorized payer button, this is how you would set up someone to have access to sign in. We strongly suggest this, especially now, considering that there's no more mailed statements. Everything is online. So if you want a parent, guardian, or anyone other than yourself to have access to your payment site, this is how you would set them up. Now, you would follow the steps similar on how to get to your payment site. And that list on the left that showed you the different options, the top one is My Account. When you're in the My Account option, you'll see the option for payers and to send a payer invitation. You'll put the payer's information in their email name, and it'll send them an email with a temporary password. They'll have 24 hours to create that password. And once they've created it, they're in and they'll have access. So now every time we publish a statement on their account, on your account, they're going to be getting the email as well. They can go online and sign up for the payment plan. And this also kind of gives us the option to talk to them, that if they call us and they are on your account, we can go into more details with them. And yeah, so the next slide we're going over is the ERefund preference. Kind of what Jennifer said, for any reason a credit appears on your student account, an overage in financial aid, or if you've made an overpayment, we are not able to hold the funds semester to semester. So we have the option of ERefund. This gives the students the option to have the funds directly deposited in your account. So if your parent does want to, or if they take out a PLUS loan and the additional funds to speed up the process of not having a paper check cut, this is where you would go. Now, students, you would have the only option to do this. The authorized payers do not. You can get with your parents if there's a certain account they want it to go to, but all you would have to do is select sign up. Once you click sign up, you'll put in your account and checking account information, and that's basically it. You do not have to change it once it's there the whole 4 years that you're here at Flagler. The only time you would need to change it is if your banking information changes. Now, if you do not sign up for this option, we do have to send a paper check to your legal address on file with the college. And this is something we strongly do not encourage, because there's the chance where you haven't updated your address in a while, or we've seen happen where they put it in a drawer and they find it maybe 90 days later, the check is stale, and now we have to reissue the check. If any checks get returned to us, it is a longer process. So this is why we strongly suggest to just have it direct deposit into your bank account. So the campus store, we did just recently open our new campus store to purchase your required materials. You can either purchase the books online or in the store. You do have the option to use financial aid to purchase your books, as long as you have a credit on your student account. So how the financial aid will work is it'll be credited to your tuition, room and board, and any tuition related fees first. And then after it's credited to there, if you have a credit balance, then it's reported to the bookstore. If you're unsure if you're going to have a credit or not to be able to purchase books, that activity detail that I mentioned earlier, if you just go there and you see a red credit, you'll know you'll have funds that you can use to the bookstore. The financial aid period is from August 9th and it closes on August 31st. And then any of the charges, if you buy any books, will be added to your student account. And then if you have any remainder, it'll go to your ERefund preference. Student health insurance. It is required that all full-time students have adequate coverage while attending Flagler College. The yearly charge is $1,678, and it's through United Healthcare. Now, the coverage effective dates are from August 1st, 2021 to July 31st, 2022. But if you feel like you have adequate coverage, or if you already have a private health insurance, you do have the option to waive. Now, starting on June 3rd, First Risk Advisors, the health insurance company, have been sending weekly emails to the student, your Flagler email address. Like Jennifer said, we strongly encourage from now on, that's how we're communicating with you, the waiver instructions on how to waive. Usually we say then once you've waived it, it takes about 2 to 3 business days, and that charge will fall off your bill. You have until September 15th to waive the health insurance. If you do not waive it by that deadline, you're automatically enrolled in the school's policy. Once you have waived it, the waiver is good for the full academic year. So you do not have to do it again until fall 2022. If you have any more questions about the health insurance or the policy, you can reach out to the health insurance at flagler.edu. And health insurance that are not US based are not required as, or not, are not you, sorry. Health insurances that are not US based are not considered adequate coverage. We do offer tuition refund insurance. I do want to mention, after add drop for the semester, you will not receive a full refund. So we do offer tuition insurance through GradGuard. You can purchase it for the semester or for the year. It covers if you have any chronic illnesses or mental health conditions, and it would cover your tuition, room and board, and any tuition related fees or any withdrawal fees that you may accumulate when you withdraw from Flagler. If you're interested on getting a quote, I don't know if you have your phones handy, but if you're interested on getting a quote or more information, this scan code right here will download all of the information to contact GradGuard. I'll leave it there for a second. And that's all I have for today. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to email us, call us, stop in. Like I said, there's no appointment needed. We're here Monday through Friday from 8 to 4:30. And if you have any, we also have an FAQ page on the business site. So thank you.
Thank you both so much. Just hang in here for a few minutes to see if there are any last minute questions that have come in from our attendees. In the chat, we did put the contact information for both offices. And so if you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to them directly. As a reminder, this is recorded and will be shared for our incoming families to watch again. We are also planning for future sessions. July 7th, we will be meeting with our first year experience and common read faculty members, where they will be sharing with our students and families what to expect with that. And then hopefully we will have our residence life and dining services team join us later in the summer to chat with our attendees and incoming families about all things living on campus. But it doesn't look like we have any other questions that have come in. Thank you all so much for attending, and we look forward to seeing you at future events. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.